Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? In this episode, I'm going to talk about why gay men make amazing life coaches. I have been looking forward to sharing this for quite a while, and I am sharing this episode for a number of reasons. Firstly, I'm a gay man, surprise, surprise, and I've also noticed that we have many people who identify as gay, identify as LGBTQ, who go through the academy and go on to have amazing success in this industry. And one of the things I found is that being gay and going through life with this identity has so much helped me become successful as a coach. And I want to highlight that, and I want to talk about why a lot of gay men and also broadly people in the LGBT community are postured to make amazing coaches just based off of the nature of who they are. So even if you don't identify in the LGBT community, I think this episode is still very important for you to listen to because it's going to help you identify and understand your LGBT clients and audiences. It's going to help you learn some of the experiences that a lot of gay and LGBT people go through, so you'll be able to connect to them on a deeper level. Now, when I say gay men make amazing life coaches, of course, I don't mean that you have to be gay in order to be a great coach. This is just one particular group that I want to highlight and I want to create a case for, because I know that if you're identifying as gay, you might feel a little bit stuck in your career and you might not really know what space it is where you can feel safe and also thrive. So one of the interesting things that I've noticed as I've looked at the demographics of Thriving Coach Academy, we have of all of our students and graduates, about 25 to 30% of our community identifies openly as LGBTQ. And I love that we have that level of diversity in our community, and that is a much higher percentage than most coach training programs out there. And I remember I was talking with a friend recently who had gone through another well-known coach training program. And when I asked her how the community was and what the other coaches were like, she said that they were basically all middle-aged white women in their 40s and 50s. And it felt like to her a sorority. And she said that because everyone looked the same and had gone through a very similar experience in life, there really weren't diverse opinions. There wasn't a lot of different ideas that were being shared. Everyone kind of seems like a carbon copy of one another. And I found this to be quite troubling because I believe that if you want to be an extraordinary life coach, you must be exposed to people who don't look like you and people who don't think like you. Having that diversity is key. So I'm so proud that our community in the academy is so diverse because it means that all of our coaches, no matter how they identify, they get to be exposed to people from different backgrounds. They get to learn about the struggles that other people go through, and that in turn makes everyone a better coach. So our entire community gets uplifted because they're exposed to people of different backgrounds. So let me rewind the clock and I'll briefly share a little bit of my experience identifying as a gay man and what that journey has been like for me. So throughout my teenage years, I was a bit confused about my sexuality. I wasn't really sure what I was interested in, what I was attracted to. And then as my teenage years went by, it became pretty clear to me that I was attracted to the same sex. And I was very scared about telling other people about this. So like many others in the LGBT community, I decided to hide that from others. And I very much kept myself very small. I wouldn't share my voice with others. I had a huge insecurity around the way my voice sounded. I thought that my voice sounded more feminine and not as strong and masculine as other boys and young men my age. So I decided to keep myself completely silent. I would sit in the back of the classroom. I would keep my head down. I would keep my mouth shut. And this is how I was for so many years of my life. And a lot of times I would present to the world like I was this busy, hardworking student. And whenever I had some girls ask me out, I would tell them that I wasn't able to date them because I was really focused on my schoolwork. And a lot of my fears were amplified even more as I got involved with Boy Scouts. At the time that I was in Boy Scouts, it was not really allowed for you to be openly gay. And if you did disclose your sexuality to your Boy Scout troop, you risked being thrown out of the troop and also completely outed to your entire community. And I remember one day I was sitting at my laptop searching, is it okay to be gay in the Boy Scouts? And I had read so many articles of people from around the country who were being outed to their family, their friends, their community, and thrown out of the troop because someone discovered their sexual orientation. So if you are not understanding what I mean when I say outed, so outed is a term when someone is outed or they are, someone might say someone's being outed. This means that someone's sexual orientation is revealed to someone else without that person wanting it to be known. And this is a very traumatizing experience that a lot of LGBTQ people unfortunately go through. So I was afraid that I was going to get outed, and these were really impressionable years of my life. I was a teenager, and I decided I wanted to blend in as much as possible, and I wanted to keep myself invisible. So over time, I decided that the cost of living a lie had become greater than the fear of what others might think of me. And I want to say that one more time. The cost of living a lie became greater than my fear of how others might see me and what others might think of me, essentially what other people's opinions were of me. So I decided when I was around 17, 18 years old to start coming out to some of my closest friends and eventually also my family. And some people think that coming out is a one-time experience, and it's absolutely not. A lot of LGBT people deal with coming out on a daily basis. They deal with the fact that people assume that you are probably heterosexual or straight, and they might concern themselves of, is it okay for me to disclose my sexual orientation or talk about my dating life or my love life without this person perhaps leaving me, judging me, harming me, etc. So coming out, although it is a very scary and sometimes traumatizing experience for gay men, it also is one of the keys to becoming successful as an entrepreneur. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So after I went through that experience of coming out and really accepting myself as a gay man, because coming out is some people think coming out is about telling the other person that you are gay or that you're LGBT. Really, coming out is about the person coming out. It's about them accepting themselves and saying, here's who I am, here's what I'm about, take it or leave it. So when you become a coach, this goes for all coaches or aspiring coaches listening, there's an interesting thing that happens when you start to develop an identity as a life coach. A lot of coaches keep it their dirty little secret that they're a life coach. They could be amazing coaches, but they're so afraid to come out as a life coach to other people. And I've noticed that this could be debilitating for some people because they're so afraid of what others are going to think of themselves when they really put themselves out there and reveal to the world, I am a life coach. So people that are in the LGBT community, you've already come out at a stage of your life. You've come out revealing your sexual orientation. You already are a pioneer. You already are a trailblazer. So because you've already had this coming out experience, you are already postured for success as a coach. It will be easier for you to share yourself with the world as a coach because you've already gone through a coming out experience. So again, you don't have to be LGBTQ to know what it's like to come out, because anytime you go through a transition in your life, you change some way that you identify, you will experience that pressure of wanting to please others, having the fear around other people will think about you. So because you LGBT listeners have already come out, then you are already postured to be successful as a coach. Now, if you're listening to this episode and you're not in the LGBT community, but you know people that are and you're friends with them, do them a favor and send them this episode. You will change their life. I promise you. So I want to share now why so many gay men and LGBTQ people as a whole are drawn to life coaching. One of the biggest reasons people in that community are drawn to life coaching is because of the freedom that you get from being your own boss. You do not have to worry about discrimination in the workplace. Now, we've come a long way in our society, at least in the United States, at being able to welcome, embrace, and accept LGBT people in the workplace, but also there's still discrimination that happens. And there have been times before I became a coach, I sometimes wondered whether my sexual orientation was holding me back from getting certain success in careers. I remember one time I had been working a job and I was just as qualified as another person to get a promotion, and that person got selected instead of me. And this happened to be a heterosexual man, the same age as me. The only really difference, because we both brought the same exact experience, the only difference was that he was straight and I was gay. And I don't want to assume that this was the only possible reason for why this could have happened, but it certainly was a thought that I had. Years after that, I was looking for temporary jobs, and I got a job working at the front desk at a gym. This was in Vancouver, Canada. And the work was incredibly simple. I had basically still been going through the training, the onboarding process, because it was just my first or I think second day at work. And towards the end of my second day during my work shift, I was called in to the boss's office, and the boss sat me down and said that they were letting me go. And I asked why. I asked what was the reasoning, if they could give me any feedback, and they refused to share any feedback. They didn't say it was anything about my work performance. They just said they were letting me go right away. And I remember vividly thinking that I believed it had something to do with being gay, because I was the only person who identified in the LGBT community that was working for that company. And it really lit a fire in me, because I refused to let my life be held back and my success and potential be limited because of other people's ignorance and discrimination. So that was one of the reasons I was drawn to coaching and entrepreneurship, because I could be my own boss. No one can fire me for being gay. And I truly get to decide the success that I want to earn and create, because I have full power over it. So as a coach, as someone that is your own boss and representing yourself in your career, you have complete freedom to earn the success you want to earn, and also to really have the freedom to express yourself in whatever way you want to express yourself. You don't have to fit into a certain brand's image or tone it down because an organization isn't comfortable with you being your normal, authentic self. You don't have to turn any part of you down. In fact, I tell all of our coaches to turn up the dial on their authentic selves. I tell them to express more of themselves in their work, because that's just going to filter out the people that want to work with them and that don't want to work with them. So the more that you can pour your authenticity into your coaching business, the more you're going to stand out and the easier it is you're going to attract clients. So the freedom is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of gay men are drawn to coaching. Another reason is the growth that you experience just by becoming a coach. You truly get to become the leader that you were born to be. So a lot of narrative around the LGBT community is on all of the oppression and all of the setbacks that our community deals with. A lot of the narrative, especially in the media, is focused on all the reasons why you are probably going to fail in your life, because of what religion's telling you, because of what your family's telling you, because of what the government's telling you. There's a lot of focus on physical violence that happens, and job discrimination, and social exclusion, and political inequality, all of these negative things. So it's very easy for one in this community to see themselves as a victim. And I think it's very sad and heartbreaking when LGBT people don't think that anything's possible for them, because they're given all of these really negative narratives. When I decided to become a coach, something really powerful happened. I felt like I went from being the victim in my life to being the creator. I felt like I went from being a victim to being a creator, letting myself know this is who I am. I'm going to show up fully to my life. I'm going to offer my gifts to the world, and I am not going to let anything hold me back. I'm not going to let anything oppress me or limit me in any way. Now, in order to get to that point, I needed coaching. So going through coach training, part of that process was receiving a lot of coaching on myself and my thoughts about myself. And I didn't realize until I started getting coaching, I had a lot of confidence issues. I thought I presented to the world this very confident self, but I still had a lot of unresolved confidence issues. So this is why inside the academy, every single coach, in order to get certified, they also have to receive coaching on real challenges that they go through in their life. And a lot of people who go through the academy say that just because of the coaching they receive, that transforms them as a person. Just because of the coaching they receive. I remember one of our graduates, Bill, openly gay man, wonderful part of our community. He had gone through years of therapy, and a lot of the therapy he mentioned was focused on some, personal insecurities and challenges and confidence issues, some of that related to being gay. He went through the academy, and within just a couple of months, he shared that just by going through a couple months of coaching, receiving it, it had gone way farther and gotten him way beyond what years of therapy had gotten him. And that's just from going through the academy and receiving coaching, okay? So by becoming a coach and also experiencing the power of coaching, one of the benefits is you will become more secure in your skin. You will become more confident in who you are. You will care less about what others think of you, because you will learn to like you. You will learn to accept you. And that is going to take you so far in your life. That is going to grow you beyond what you ever could possibly believe is imaginable. So another really amazing benefit that I experienced as a gay man who entered the coaching industry is that a lot of my identity shifted in a way where I no longer focus so much on my sexuality as being a huge part of me. So all the coaches who go through the academy, they know that I don't often bring up, rarely if at all, my sexuality. And it's not something that I really highlight. And if you've been listening to this episode, we're about 60 episodes in, and this is the first time I'm probably even bringing it up. And that's because so much of my identity now is focused on what I have to give and what I have to contribute to society. And before I became a coach, so much of my identity was focused on being gay. That was a big part of my personality. That's something that I hyper-focused on. And I see that being something that a lot of gay men and LGBT people, they really focus on that. They don't really know how else to show up to the world other than really their sexual orientation. So when you become a coach, you will grow beyond that. You will see really more of who it is that you are beyond your sexual orientation. You will discover the true gifts that you have to offer to the world. Now I feel like me being gay is just really one tiny detail in the broader picture of who I am and what I have to offer. And I found that this has been such an empowering way to live. Last year, I had met another gay business owner, and we both related. It was so cool. We both related when we were both talking. There was very little focus on the fact that we were gay, but all that we could really talk about and we were so passionate about was our businesses and the impact that it was having on people and how excited we were to grow our businesses and continue to serve our clients. And I found that this was really awesome to connect on this level. And when gay men become coaches and they start recognizing all it is that they have to share with the world, aside from their sexual orientation, it actually expands all the things that become possible for you. So that's the second benefit of why gay men are drawn to coaching, is the way that you're going to grow as a human. And the third biggest benefit is the way that it transforms your relationships. Now, listen, if you're a gay man listening to this, especially if you're single, I know how hard it could be to be in the dating scene, especially when it comes to the bars and the clubs and the dating apps. And a lot of gay men struggle with dealing with a lot of flakiness and superficial men out there. And it can be very hard to have depth and true intimacy and connection and have that long-term fulfilling relationship that you most want. I have found that learning the skill of coaching, Aside from all the money that's generated for me, learning the skill of coaching has transformed my relationships with others. I used to be very insecure around dating. And I remember one time I started working with a coach years ago because I told this coach, I'm struggling with dating because I don't know what I have to offer to a relationship. I don't know what my gifts are. I don't know what I'm bringing to the table. And by getting coaching, I was able to realize everything that I was able to offer to a relationship. And I was able to build my confidence and show up in a much more powerful way. So by learning the skill of coaching, you get to not just apply it to your business and give it to your clients, but you get to apply it to your own life. And when you can apply coaching to your own life, it makes you more attractive. It allows you to know how to engage in a more powerful way with others. When I go to networking events, for example, I'm very introverted, and that's something I got a lot of coaching on. But when I go to a networking event, I'm able to really shine. And I've had so many people come up to me and say, wow, you really know what you're doing. You really are so magnetic. People are just drawn to you. And I've had people at events say that they loved my 2 to 3 minute conversation with them compared to all the others at the networking event. And I credit all of that to the coaching I've gotten on myself, because I wasn't naturally that way. I needed coaching to overcome some of those insecurities. So becoming a coach, it of course elevates your success because you're going to learn to make an incredible living as a coach. But even aside from that, you become more attractive. You become more attractive to others on the inside and on the outside. So if you feel like you're struggling with your relationships or your dating life, learning coaching is going to transform you. And when you transform yourself, you transform the people that you start attracting to your life. So before I learned coaching, it's almost like I can put a line in the sand. Before I learned how to be a coach, I didn't have much success with dating. I didn't really have any relationships that went anywhere. After I learned coaching, I started having deeper relationships. I started meeting amazing men, and I was able to not just have incredible relationships, but even end those relationships without any drama, without any kind of judgment or negativity. So I hear a lot of gay men really struggle with the dating life and deal with men that are narcissistic, toxic, evil, whatever the word is. And none of that has to be true for you. So if you're going through that right now, maybe what you most need, or rather, I'm telling you, what you most need to learn is the skill of coaching. This will change everything for you. This is going to show you how to listen to people at a deep level. This will show you how to vibrate at a higher frequency. So you're going to show up with a brighter energy to you. This will make you more attractive to other people. And this will also raise your self-esteem and your confidence. So the caliber of man that you attract into your life radically transforms when you learn coaching. And if you're already in a relationship, you will find that your relationship is going to evolve and go to a deeper level when you learn the skill of coaching. We have many gay men who are in relationships, go through the academy, and they're able to connect not just our gay clients, but our straight clients as well, who are able to use their coaching skills to improve their personal and family relationships. Now, one of the biggest myths that all people have, especially those in the LGBT community, is that you first need to work through all your insecurities and you first need to fully accept yourself before you can really become a great coach. So I've heard a lot of gay men say, oh, I'm just too broken to become a coach, or I've just gone through too much trauma. Here's what I want you to know. You can be a work in progress and still make an incredible impact on people's lives. So it's okay. You are, as a coach, you're allowed to have fears and insecurities and doubt and shame. I still have all of those emotions show up for me here and there. But the difference is I know how to handle those emotions. I know how to lean into them. I know how to let them move through me rather than become at the effect of those emotions. So you are allowed to have insecurities and you could still be a great coach. You don't have to have your whole life figured out, and you don't have to fully accept yourself. For a lot of coaches who are in the LGBT community, becoming a coach is what helps them accept themselves more because they go through the coaching process. They get to apply it to themselves. So I want to end this episode by sharing a few of the top gifts that I see a lot of gay men have, and again, broadly speaking, most people in the LGBT community, these are, if you're struggling to know what are my gifts, what is it that I really have to offer, I want to share with you the top 7 that I've recognized. And I want you to know that trauma, whenever you have a lot of distress in your life, that distress you go through is often what births strengths and gifts. Okay, so any kind of negative experience you've gone through in your life, really painful moments, what kind of strength or gift has that birthed for you? That's a great question to ask you. Any kind of minority group, this is a really important question to consider. So that way you don't see yourself as a victim to life, but rather as how have my hindrances, the setbacks that I've gone through, how have those strengthened me as a human? How have those given me a gift that I didn't have before? So here are the top gifts I see that gay men have. One is empathy. Okay, so when you come out, that requires so much personal reflection and insight. You know how difficult it is to put down your figurative mask and share yourself to the world with, the unknown of what could happen, and experiencing that with the concern around possibly many things falling apart in your life. So you are able to empathize with clients who are also looking to put themselves out there in different ways in their life. Okay, this is one of the most common things people often seek out coaching for, is because they want to transition in their life in some way. They want to change. They want to start a new chapter. So as someone in the LGBT community, you have so much empathy that you're going to bring to your coaching relationships, because it's not going to be unknown for you. You will have some understanding of what your clients are going through. Another gift that you have is your resilience. Now, despite all the misconceptions and the discrimination and the stereotypes and the hate crimes and all the other things that our community has gone through, our community is thriving in the face of it all. Okay, so we have people in our community, in the gay community, who are sharing their stories, sharing their triumphs, spreading hope for anyone who feels trapped. So you, by the nature of who you are and what you've gone through in your life, you are already resilient and strong. Think about how that will be so inspiring for your clients. Going off of that, another gift you have is you are courageous. So for many LGBT people, we know what it's like to wear a mask and hide ourselves, and know how scary it is to be seen, and the courage it takes to speak up, to speak your truth, and to live authentically. You know how to have the courage to be yourself. So many people who don't identify as LGBT struggle with this. So it's one of the top regrets of the dying. One of the top regrets of the dying is people wish they had the courage to live a life true to themselves rather than a life others expected of them. So being in this community, you know how to question the status quo, how to show up in a different way, how to be a trailblazer, how to question the rule book other people are following, and instead of conforming to the defined roles and the defined narratives of society, throwing all of that away and living your truth, living on your terms. These are one of your gifts. This is what will make you an amazing coach. Another gift that gay men have is they are so self-aware. Now, coming out is not something that someone just randomly does one day. It comes with a lot of forethought. Oftentimes it takes people years and sometimes decades of their own personal exploration to really understand and acknowledge and embrace your identity. So by you having all of these insights into your own thoughts and emotions, you are able to become such an asset to others at helping them navigate and process and work through their own thoughts and emotions and even their identity. Another gift that gay men and LGBT people have is that you're socially intelligent. Now, if you're part of this community, you know what it's like when you go into any kind of a group setting, how you might subtly modify your behavior or your reactions in order to minimize some kind of attention or aggression or maybe even suspicion that you might get from your peers. So while that is unfortunate in many ways, you also have cultivated an amazing ability to read the room. to read the room, to notice the energy of a room, and to really tune yourself into different people, okay? So this is an adaptive technique. This is a really powerful adaptive social skill that many people struggle to possess. So you have a really powerful social intelligence that you can also bring into your coaching practice and help your clients with. Another gift of the LGBT community is your creativity, okay? Because you show up differently to your life, you make different choices, you get different outcomes. When you look at some of the most creative and successful people in pop culture, in music, in film, many of those people come from minority groups. So you are naturally someone who is creative because you live a life that is against the norm, so to speak, okay? So there's so much creativity that you are going to bring to your coaching practice. You're going to help your clients break through those norms in their own life. And you're also going to bring so much creativity to your ways of marketing your coaching practice because you're already positioned and primed to be someone that doesn't follow the status quo. Okay? And then the final gift that I see a lot of LGBT people have is the humor, okay? A lot of us have used humor to perhaps cope with distressful times in our life. It is a coping mechanism, but it also can really help because we have developed this capacity to be fun and funny people. This is great for establishing rapport with others. This is great for helping others feel safe, for creating a judgment-free environment where others can feel comfortable opening up to you and letting loose with you and just sharing themselves with you in ways that maybe they don't share with other people. So you are likely someone that other people want to be around just because of the essence of who you are. So I want to end this episode by saying that if you're a gay man listening, if you're in the LGBTQ community listening, and you feel like you have more to offer to the world, you want to work in an industry that allows you to have untapped earning potential and the freedom to truly be who you are, there's no better choice that you can make than becoming a life coach. Even if you don't want to start your own coaching business, it will transform you as a person and it will elevate your relationships and it will inspire you to live to your fullest potential. So you have natural gifts right now inside you that already set you up for success in this industry and will set you up for success as a coach. And we would love to support you with that. If you want to hear more stories of graduates and students from our program, then go to our website and listen to the stories of other gay men and LGBT people that have gone through our program and all the success that they've been able to have. So that's what I got for why gay men make amazing life coaches. And I got to say that becoming a life coach has in many ways given my life more than I ever thought what could be imaginable. I really questioned in my earlier years, what would become possible for me. And I thought that I was going to deal with a life of struggle and a life of constant challenge and pushback from society. And I feel like coaching has opened up more doors than I could have ever imagined. It has truly been the best investment that I've made as a gay man in myself, learning how to be a coach, learning how to navigate life. And I feel spare myself of so much suffering that I otherwise would have had if I didn't know how to coach myself through challenging situations. I want to see more gay men thrive, and I want to see more gay men thrive as life coaches because there is space for you to thrive in this industry, and you are safe to thrive in the industry as a coach. That's what I got. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coach's secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.